Hi everyone, this is Kirk,
This is Donnie.
and we're so happy to have a conversation or warm-up conversation with you. As many of you know, we're going on our ecstatic path of the Peaceful Warrior Retreat in May, and inviting people to, especially gay men who are healers and change agents in the world, to join us. But this month in March, we want to play with the idea of language and how language can heal us and how we use languages to heal us.
Yes, because language is, after all, basically a vibration, and it's the vibrations that will change our energy.
So even some of the languages that you've been studying are languages that actually have kind of in their essence, in their history, some tonality that's supposed to bring healing, like everything from Sanskrit and Hebrew and Aramaic and Arabic, and those languages are kind of ripe with that kind of intention, even to create a vibration, aren't they?
Yes.
Yeah. So we're going to play with languages and languages that heal, and when we're on retreat, and just kind of as a taster for some of you, but when we're on retreat, there are many ways in which we all speak many different languages, no matter what. Whether you think of my beloved is what he calls a polyglot. How fun is that? And I basically speak English. I've learned a couple languages in high school and college, but really I'm not fluent in anything. So, but the language of our bodies, we're ever having an expression, we're communicating with our bodies, stories and wisdom, presence, energy. So we don't even have to say something. You walk into a room and you a lot of times get a read just from somebody's body language as to kind of what's cooking and what's up for them. Or there's a way in which our language is coming from the inside out too, and that's so much of the work. And it's even why we want to play with spoken languages together. Is our bodies and our work is carrying what we call stories, body stories, and these stories are ever kind of leaking out into the universe, and we feel it. And whether we're at restaurant ordering something or with our beloveds, every day we're interacting out of that energy that comes through our body. So that's a language as well, and we want to play with changing some of those languages so that they're really in its highest form and not a story that's impeding you from getting what you want. So actual spoken languages are kind of a juicy way to get into some of this work of completion work and really having a new experience that we do in our work of flesh and spirit and the missing thread, and we'll do on retreat. And I'm wondering if you can talk to just how language, how there's a tonality. In fact, maybe model for us.
Okay.
Model for us.
Well, for example, the way you say hello is very particular in certain languages. So, for example, in Japanese, the body comes into it. You all know about the Japanese bowing. So you bow as you say hello. It's you don't shake hands, and so it sounds very soft. My accent, of course, isn't perfect, but it sounds something like Hajimemashite, dozo yoroshiku. Which really is, you're not even saying, what you're really saying is, let us begin, please be kind, is what it literally means. And that's what you say when you're meeting someone. So it's like opening the door, please be kind. It's kind of sweet.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And in Turkish you say, hoş geldiniz, and then the traditional response is hoş bulduk, and that means, it's something like, glad you're here, and then the response is, "Oh, I'm glad to be here." That's kind of what it says. It's very fun.
So those languages really are kind of bridge building and connectors,
Yes.
and they really do, many of them even involve the body as well as the voice,
Yes.
and tonality and vibration. So all of that's real juicy stuff that
Yeah.
we want to play with, and how language can help to heal us. You know, we've worked with a lot of folks who have spoken many different languages, in English oftentimes not being their first language even. So in their growing up experiences of being wounded as well as celebrated in their lives, in their cultures and so forth, the wounded parts are just locked in there with the language of origin. And so getting them to actually do what we call completion work in their own language, their native language, has oftentimes been a powerful additive to clearing out and releasing, while using their language to really, set themselves free and claim the truth, and naming that in that language as well. So it becomes a bodily experience of using language that really shifts things in a bigger way than if somebody's just talking to me in English and saying, yeah, my father did this, and I'm really angry about that.
Yes, because the language, of course, we just said, is a part of the vibration, and that's contained in what created the story. So even if you don't speak a foreign language, or your experiences are all in English, perhaps there's the way that you spoke in the past, or words that you used, or associated with certain music of the past, or television programs. These can all be part of the experience that created what we call body stories.
So language connects us to a whole lot of stuff, doesn't
Yes.
it? Then and then that stuff either can have a light side or a dark side, or a shadow side, and it's the shadow side we want to emancipate and free and neutralize, so that the light side can really shine brighter, and the story of the person can come into their full essence, that yummy stuff. So let's talk about that for a second. So we've got kind of biological origin stuff that happens in the family with language. You've got a place origin. Somebody grows up in, and I love, what was the book? Eat, Love, Pray.
Oh, yes.
I think she was on to the fact that every language kind of has its own vibration and culture,
Yes.
and landing place. So in those places you feel certain things. So the place of origin, and sometimes we need to clean up some energies around our places of origin. Or, for those of us who, my family knew very little about its really far back genealogy and history. I've researched it some, so I think I probably have some German, some French, and some English background that kind of got all woven together. But even that's a little sketchy. But I know in my body, I have senses of actually, and people you may believe or not believe in past lives, but senses that in another time I lived in other places. And I think it'd be really fun to play with how speaking and hearing that language, especially languages of welcome, could be really healing. So if you're not getting it, we're going to play with language this month, in the month of March, and we're going to even use it in our potluck as a way for men to sit around and talk about their relationship with language and how it can heal them, but also to listen to, as we hear different languages, what do we feel in our bodies. So that's what I'm going to leave you all with, is you hear a language, a spoken language in this case especially. What do you hear? What do you feel in your body? So close this off by saying some more words in different languages, just they don't even have to know what you're saying.
Oh, okay.
But just give them a taster of what might they feel in their bodies as they hear you.
Ik kan me herinneren, de eerste maal dat ik Nederlands heb gesproken, was het heel leuk. En ik was heel blij om de taal te kunnen praten. La primera vez que hablé español me quedé muy asombrado porque fue la primera vez que hablé. Я очень рад говорить по-русски, потому я думаю, что это интересно. У меня есть учительница, она живет в Москве.
So he gave you what, 4 different samples, and what did you feel? Were there some subtle differences in just hearing the words, whether you had any idea what they were saying or not? So hope this is a fun little taster for you, and we look forward to exploring more in this month of March, leading into, at least for some of us who are going to go on this incredible retreat about the peaceful warrior,
yes.
But using language and how we use language to help us heal. So, namaste.
Namaste. So the only thing I would say about it is, I will turn it off. Turn it off.